learning on the fly.
Yep.
All right. So I'll just introduce the episode. So guys, hey guys, this is Tea with Mike, episode 7. This is Isaac. Hey Isaac, how's it going today?
Pretty good. How are you doing, Michael?
Pretty good, dude. So as you know, on Tea with Mike, we always start with, what's your favorite type of tea?
What's my favorite type of tea? You know, being from the South in America, I really like just a stereotypical Southern tea. That's actually what I made. Um, you can't go wrong with that. Man, sorry, I'm trying to get this thing fixed. But it has to be like the good old normal tea. I got that right here actually.
How often do you drink tea?
Um, once a month maybe.
Once a month, nice dude.
Once
At
a
least
month.
you drink tea. At least you
Yeah.
drink tea.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, sweet dude. Yeah, so I've got my English breakfast tea in a Canada mug today because it's at the start of the Canada winter games here where I live.
Really?
So it's where all young people, I think it's from like 10 years old to 21 years old, come together from across the country to participate in sport. It's kind of the step before the Olympics, if that makes sense.
No, it does. That's interesting actually. So is it kind of like what type of sports is it?
Oh, so it's everything from skiing, table tennis, ice hockey, judo, gymnastics, curling. So like a whole range of sports.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I mean, down here in America, we have, like football, soccer, and stuff like that, and then we participate in the Olympics, but nothing like, winter games like that. But
Nice
that's
dude.
great.
Okay, so for the Tea with Mike audience and for the people that are tuning in from your perspective, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, yeah, my name's Isaac Mashman. I'm from Jacksonville, Florida. Down here, I'm literally probably 3,000 miles away from you right now. Um, I grew up in Jacksonville, very humble beginning, very humble family. And, I was always a good student, straight A student. I'm not sure how the grading scale works in Canada. And growing up, I had big dreams, big aspirations, right? Like I wanted to be, 5-star general. I wanted to be, doing something with, crime scene investigation and an engineer. And then throughout my time in high school and growing up, I realized like my dreams would quickly change. So what I ended up, I went into my senior year in high school. I had no idea what I wanted to do. And then I fell in love with entrepreneurship. I stumbled upon Gary Vee's videos. And then after that, it was kind of, it was over. Like I found Gary Vee. And I argue that he saved my life because he introduced me to entrepreneurship. And it was just, from there, it's been a roller coaster of a ride. As entrepreneurs, we have our ups, we have our downs. I have a podcast. As you know, it's called the Isaac Mashman Show that I put on the back burner. And yeah, man, I'm just trying to make an impact and affect as many people as I can in a positive manner.
Nice dude. Yeah, so a little bit similar for me, a little different. I'm doing a media and communications program at my like local college. So I'm really looking to get into like the communications field, like working for an organization, doing their social media and marketing for them. And then eventually I want to branch out on my own terms and run my own business. And I feel like what I'm doing here today is a good starting point. This idea of Tea with Mike just literally came to me in the moment because as much as I'm a fan of technology and digital, I'm like at the same time we have lost the art of face-to-face interaction and conversation. Every time you go up to someone, then it's like a 99% chance that they're on their phone.
Nah, it's crazy. Yeah, you have like the stereotypical image of like the family at dinner, and all the people are on their phones, and like you have to tell another person to get off. And I have to agree with you. We've lost a lot of face-to-face communication over the past 20 years, the past 8 years, especially when social media, Instagram, and all just technology has exploded. So I like the concept, and man, you getting started, just taking the leap of faith and doing a live show, doing a podcast, doing uploading the video, whatever you are doing. That's a good step in the right direction. You know what I'm saying?
I do. So for a while, I did a couple of things for like other people, and they paid me, and it was pretty successful. Because I never I've always been a confident person, but I never felt good enough to take that, like you just put it, the leap of faith. I always had in my head, like for a while, for the longest time, I had, oh, I could definitely do it for somebody else, right? I could definitely work behind the scenes, like for somebody doing bits, helping them out, helping them create stuff,
Right.
but I could never be, I guess, the face of it. Yeah.
I mean, it takes a lot of confidence. I mean, whenever I started with the Isaac Mashman show, man, like I remember recording my first episode, and I had to record it like 5 times because every single take I just did not like my voice. Like I literally cringed, and I listened to the first episode a couple weeks back, dude, and I cringed so hard because it's like you have to do what the average person is not willing to do in order to get to the point in life that they, will never achieve, right? Like you have to do something extraordinary to be extraordinary. You know what I'm saying? And I respect you for
Yeah,
that.
dude. Yeah. Nice. What was I gonna say? Yeah. And it's just also about kind of figuring out as you go along, right? Because there's a lot of people in the world, like, because as soon as you like try something, they're quick to jump on the negative bandwagon. Oh, the audio was terrible at this episode, or the image wasn't very good, or the lighting wasn't very good. But these are all things I'm finding that you learn by doing, then rather from like the sidelines. Like, because even the first episode of this, I forgot to turn on the lights, right? And then I'm like, why is this so dark? And then the next thing I learned was, oh, I can't go live with somebody who's not in the same setting as me on my computer off Instagram, Facebook,
Really? Okay. It's good to
all
know
of that.
actually for me. Yeah.
And then so it's like, oh, how am I gonna do live episodes? Like, whilst trying to keep the quality of the production like high. So I invested in like this like mini like it's called a mobile Gorilla Pod rig.
Never heard of it.
It's essentially like a little tripod, and then you can put your phone like horizontal, landscape, different heights, different angles, and then it comes with like different pieces where you can apparently like attach it to like a tree or that sort of thing. But
Okay. Interesting.
in your
Interesting.
environment. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm over here. I got coffee and tea, man. I got both.
Oh, you're doing both.
Yes, sir. Got to get the caffeine.
How many hours a night do you sleep?
Uh,
Because I've been
Depends.
watching all your tweets, right?
oh man, yeah. Twitter, man. I've been crushing the Twitter game. I've been seeing
I
you
know this.
often. Yep. Yep. Doing Twitter management actually, for people that want to grow their accounts and stuff like that. That's a service that I recently rolled out. I'm still working on. So
Yeah, because I noticed the other day you were talking about how you're trying to get into a little bit of like social media management, right?
hmm
And I presume Twitter's a part of that, correct?
absolutely, absolutely. I think a lot of people underestimate Twitter. They say, I mean, I have to agree that the attention is on Instagram, but I've literally established my entire network through Twitter. I mean, I met you through Twitter. I'd say what 8 months ago. I'd
Yes.
say
Yeah.
it's been about 8 months. I established my business partners through Twitter, and then my buddy Cole Baker. I was down in Miami for 10x
Yeah.
Growth Conference. It was a fantastic conference, man. And I was staying with Cole Baker and his mom. And guess what? I met Cole through Twitter about a year ago. And that's the real point of social media, to actually take those virtual relationships into a face-to-face, person-to-person interaction. That is the ultimate goal of social media. I'm sitting here having a conversation with you, my brother in Canada, 2,500 miles away.
It's
How
pretty
wi-
crazy.
how wicked is that, right? Like I have a network in
That
South
is awesome.
Africa. I have a network in Nigeria, and you do as well.
Yeah,
So
that's also my favorite thing about social media is meeting different people with similar, I'd say similar mindsets, but maybe slightly different ways on how we think we're going to go about it.
right.
Because there's everyone that like wants to get into investing and then real estate, and then for me personally, I'm not really interested in all the real estate and the investing portion. but I'm much more interested in like the marketing and social media and meeting new people and that sort of thing.
Right. This is definitely fundamental to succeed and become someone in 21st century. You know, learning marketing, learning social media management, stuff like that. A lot of people don't know how to even do that.
I
So
think the fascinating part about social media is, and where it's really beneficial is if you live in a small city or a town where there's not many people because of the traditions of the town that like have the same interests of you. Like you live in a town that's like 80% full of people much older than you. Social media is another way to socialize. I guess that's why it's called
right.
social media.
Yep, definitely. So what else do you want to talk about, man?
What are your goals for the? What are your like kind of goals for the year? Where do you want to go in 2019? It's a big question because I know you've got your hand in a little bit of lots of different things.
Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to narrow it down. I mean, as I saw a graph of entrepreneurship, and then I'll get into my goals, and the graph was, you know, it was a line graph, and it started right at this point, and then it basically was at like the beginning part of entrepreneurship, right? Like you fell in love with entrepreneurship, and then you have a little bit of success, and then you hit a road bump, and then you go down, and then you go back up, and then just when you think you're at your top, you fall down again, and you have to go back up again, and that's kind of where I'm at right now. You know, I've recently had a couple business things kind of fail, but my mindset wasn't all there. So really 2019, the reason I'm looking over here is I have my vision board, my goals for the year. You know, that's the thing. You have to visualize your success before it's physically come. You know, that's what I believe. I'm a huge believer in the law of attraction. And I'm getting back into network marketing. I'll say that. And my goal is to hit 6 figures in the next 3 months as soon as I get in. It's a very hefty goal, but you know, you have to 10x everything. Grant Cardone, 10x this, 10x your life. I'm trying to get into better physical shape. That's a priority. And then I've also made it my goal. I don't know if it's not necessarily 2019, but it's more so like the next 3 years. I want to have an impact on 100,000 people. I want to get my social media up. You know, I want to get 100,000 followers on Instagram and 100,000 followers on Twitter by the end of this year. How I'm going to achieve that, I don't know, but it's going to happen. And you know, I'm going to look back on this video once I crush those goals, right? Those are the biggest goals, though. And then just really 2020, I'm going way ahead. I want to retire my mom by December 31st, 2020.
Awesome, dude.
So
I got a question for you.
absolutely.
So what advice would you give to someone like me, I guess, that's kind of more at the beginning end of the journey in terms of what do you do if your number of social media followers gets stuck and it goes backwards and then it stays between two certain numbers for a period of time?
Okay. A lot of people have mixed emotions about this. Gary Vee personally does not believe in the follow for unfollow strategy, right? But I've seen major success with that. But the biggest thing is, let's take Twitter for example, because Twitter's my main platform at the moment. You ultimately have to engage with your audience, right? Like a lot of people get too big for their shoes and they get, you know, 10,000 followers and they don't actually engage with their audience or they don't message people and stuff like that. That's key. You know, and getting out there, what I've recently been doing, and this is something that I haven't really told many people, but if you were to go to some tweet that you think is going viral, and you just get in there and you engage in the tweet, you have a good chance of that tweet, you know, getting a high engagement rate, getting a high impression, and generating and converting over to followers. So, like for example, there's a tweet the other day, and I went ahead and jumped on. I got 700 likes on my one reply. 700 likes, and I'm sure I generated a couple followers, and I got 100,000 impressions because of that. So that's big. And then for follow strategy, just look for people in your niche. You know, go hit them up in a DM. You know, like, how's it going, man? I see that you're an entrepreneur, or I see that you're in marketing. I'd love to chat with you. I'd love to get you on Tea with Mike. I'd love to, you know, do this X, Y, and Z. And that's ultimately about, you know, showing them that you care. Because if you show someone that you care, that person is going to take to you. That person's going to be like, yo, this Mike kid is a real genuine person. Or Isaac's a genuine guy. You know, I'm going to go ahead and invite him on Tea with Mike. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
we built that rapport over the past couple of months, and I have some people that, you know, I'm still talking to, and that are still in my network that I met as soon as I fell into love with entrepreneurship. And it's a crazy thing because you're watching each other grow over the course of a couple months, over the course of a year. You know, I have friends that I'm going to be friends with for the rest of my life that I met through social media, and that's just an amazing thought. So for converting to followers, show people that you care. You know, jump in the network, jump in a reply, jump into a comment section on Instagram. You know, you see World Star, and everyone's like this. If you think that, like, name a better rapper than me. I don't know if you ever look at like the World Star comments, but people are all clout chasing. There's nothing wrong with clout chasing, in my opinion, if you do it right. You know, don't be a snob about it, but actually provide value. Gary Vee, provide value. And that's the biggest thing. That's my biggest word of advice.
Good answer, man. Yeah, so yeah, just keep doing what I'm doing, keep putting myself out there, keep doing it.
Absolutely.
I think that, and keep it simple, right? Just keep doing it, then everything else will happen as it happens.
Keep it simple, right?
What else? No.
So hit me with another question, man. Come on, drink the tea.
I'm slow because it's too much tea. No. Is education important?
Define that.
In relation to certain industries, for example, is education important if you want to be a teacher versus if you want to freelance ultimately?
Are you talking about like? Sorry, I'm plugging my phone in. Are you talking about like high school, or are you talking more so about, you know, farther education, post-secondary, which be like
further education.
So like college and university and stuff like that.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
My viewpoint on that is colleges are ultimately a business, right? Because teachers have to get paid, the principal has to get paid. You know, principals at the big schools, they can get paid, you know, $1 million a year. You know, that's not unheard of. I'd say that college is really only necessary if you, one, are going into the military. Here in America, if you go to college for 4 years through the military, they'll pay for it. You go in as an officer. That's one of the things, that's what a lot of my family was trying to get me to do. And I said, screw that. I'm not doing military. I don't want to do that. If you want to be a teacher, you know, a degree is required. If you want to be a lawyer, a degree is required. If you want to be a doctor, a surgeon, an engineer, for those professions, you will always have to go to college. You know, that education is going to be necessary and fundamental for the rest of, you know, for the next 1,000 years. If you want to go into those occupations, you're going to have that further education just for the safety of us. You know, you don't want to have some person who has no experience design a bridge that you drive or walk over, right? But for entrepreneurship, I could have got a full ride scholarship if I put in a little bit more effort. I could have went to any college of my choice basically for free. But my biggest thing was the time invested in it. I did not want to devote 3 to 4 years and spend the first 2 years of my life studying things that I'm never going to use again. I choose to believe that, you know, you are able to educate yourself. I've learned more about entrepreneurship, more about, you know, marketing and social media by actually getting my hands dirty, by actually networking and meeting people versus going and sitting in a classroom listening to a professor. Personally, I don't want to sound snobby or anything, but I do not want to make 6 figures a year. I don't want to make 7 figures. I want to go 8+ and above, right? It's going to take work, but I'm not going to learn how to build a multi-million-dollar business from a professor that only gets paid $60,000 a year and has never ran a business. You see what I'm saying? So it's all a matter of perspective, but personally, I do not think college is necessary for the average person. If you want to be a lawyer, do one of those professions, and yes, of course, but other than that, no. And big companies like Google and Apple no longer require a degree to work for them. And that's the biggest thing. I don't know if you've ever heard of Andy Frisell of the MFCEO project. He says that he literally disregards the degree of a person if they try to work for him.
Interesting. So as you know, I'm about to start a podcast. Based off your experience, 3 tips, tricks that you learned today.
Like tips or tricks for what?
For things to bear in mind when building the podcast.
When building a podcast, mindset. You know, I had a guy like at the 10X Growth Conference. I'm mentioning a lot of stories for a reason. There's a guy who was not at the Growth Con. I couldn't tell if he was homeless or not, but he was sitting outside and he's like, "What's one biggest takeaway from the Growth Conference?" I told him one word. I told him mindset, because mindset is ultimately key to a lot of things. You know, if you are lacking that self-confidence, that is, you know, you're lacking that confidence because of your mindset. Your mindset is ultimately lacking. So that's key. I'd also say consistency. A lot of big name entrepreneurs, they talk about consistency. You have to, upload every week, or if you say that you're going to upload once a day, you need to upload once a day. And that's really big. And also providing value. Those are my biggest three tips, because if you don't provide value, no one's going to watch
Yeah,
and no one's going to listen.
there's a lot of digital noise in today's world.
Absolutely.
Sure. Okay, let's see. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? A little bit more long term.
5 years. Traveling the world, impacting millions of lives, generating, I'd say $100,000 at least a month. And then my mom's going to be retired. I'm going to have a condo in Miami and a condo in New York City. Those are my two biggest goals. I've had the opportunity to travel to New York City, Los Angeles, and Miami in the past 12 months. Out of all of them, Miami was my favorite. New York City is a close second. But I'd really love to. It's my biggest focus is on the impact at this point. I can see myself seriously traveling over the world, building an international team, establishing a big name for myself. I'm not trying to be the next Gary Vee or the next Andy Frisella or something like that. I'm trying to be Isaac Mashman, you know what I'm saying? And I believe that, I have things that I can say to provide value to another person, Having someone come to you and say that, hey, you've helped me through this, or that message, I needed that tweet, seriously, I really needed to hear that word of encouragement. That feeling is, I've never felt something like that, ever before. Like, that feeling's seriously unique. I know it's very, very vague, but does that answer your question?
No, that's good. I think for me, I want to gain that 2 to 3 years. Like, I think, well, at least at this point, probably like 2 to 3 years of like industry experience working for like somebody else, like in marketing, social media, and then at the same time, I just want to keep building with my meeting new people, making new connections, learning new tips and tricks every day, always looking to improve the quality of the overall like production of the content that I'm putting out. So I'd say next 5 years, those are the big ones, and then I'd also like to do a bit more traveling. I've done a lot of traveling because I moved from England to Canada, but I've just, in the last couple of years, just got in that place where I just haven't been able to travel because of life circumstances, I guess.
Well, of
Because of
course.
education.
And that's definitely understandable, man. I mean, if you ask the average person, they're of course, like, they want to travel. Like, the average person enjoys traveling because it's seeing new sights and seeing new things. But it sounds to me like you're really focused on really educating yourself and getting that lifelong experience, or that life experience that's going to help you throughout the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing about anything in life. If you were to go up to Bill Gates or go up to Jeff Bezos, they always read. The readers are the leaders. Ultimately, I know it's very cliche, and those people also, they're constantly improving themselves. They're constantly working on bettering themselves, learning new strategies, learning new things, and evolving. And that's my biggest thing. I'm currently reading a book now called The Secret. Talking about the law of attraction. And I have the goal of reading 16 books. That's something else I didn't include. I have the goal of reading 16 books by the end of June. Because the average American,
Okay.
I don't know about Canada, but the average American doesn't even read one book a year. Man, that's great though. I'm glad to know that you have set some pretty hefty goals for yourself.
Thanks, Tim. You started talking a little bit about books and reading and the importance of it.
Hmm.
What are like maybe a couple of your favorite books that I should look into, because I could definitely read more.
Okay. Right now I have three main books that I want to get done in the next month, in the next like couple weeks actually. I have the 10X Rule by Grant Cardone. Of course, I went down to the Growth Conference. I'm going to read his book, 10X Rule. Then I have Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. A lot of great people. Steve Harvey. I'm sure you're familiar with Steve Harvey,
Yeah.
Family Feud and whatnot. He said that Think and Grow Rich was one of the first books that he really started to read whenever he was getting into, making a name for himself. Because little known fact, Steve Harvey was 38 before he even got his first gig. So Think and Grow Rich, 10X Rule, and then I'd also say The Secret by Rhonda Byrne. I believe that's what it's called. And with that book, it's very interesting because she went around the country. She got a team established and she went around the country and interviewed all of these great people. You know, she interviewed Bob Proctor, a lot of these other great thinkers of our time. And they all, you know, they were none of them were together, but they all said the same thing. And it was speaking to the law of attraction. It was speaking to, you know, the work and the mindset that goes into becoming successful. Because you don't have to, you know, be a big name entrepreneur or something like that, or you don't have to have the goal to be an entrepreneur to focus on the law of attraction or focus on those things.
Awesome, dude. Great answer. Good value. All right. I respect your time. Like, I got a lot of good things out of this. We'll close today. What's one question that you have for me?
One question.
Or piece of advice, either or.
I think I'll have a question. It's just, what am I going to ask you? Why not?
That's the question?
2 words. Why not?
Is that a question? Why not?
It is. Think about it.
Okay.
People, I'm going to kind of take over this little section. All right, I'll explain myself.
But
A lot of people do not go and achieve their goals or go and, you know, take that leap of faith because they're in fear, right? So why not do that thing that you're not doing? Why not do that thing that you've been thinking about but you're not taking the leap of faith? You know, why not go and interview that person? Why not reach out to that person? Now, on a serious note, I'll probably ask you, who is your biggest influence?
okay, so my biggest influence that's basically switched a light bulb on in my head, and encouraged me to start thinking different, was a guy named Jonathan Strom, who lives here in Red Deer. He's a local entrepreneur and stuff, runs a business and that sort of thing. And he came in to speak to our social media class about networking, marketing, social media. And it's hard to put into words, but I walked into the class expecting it just to be another boring guest speaker, a waste of time. Like, it's not going to be very interesting. And I left the lecture, which was a very interactive lecture, like completely different. For some reason, I was like energized and curious and felt like I wanted to learn more and stuff. And I wrote down so many like notes when he was talking of things to go research and that sort of thing. And then I actually met him for coffee like a couple of weeks after he came in to speak. So that's a really like significant moment on the journey, the beginnings of the journey. And then after that, just started using social media more, trying to connect with more people, like basically taking it seriously. So that's my answer, Jonathan Strom.
That's great. And like my biggest thing too is like a lot of people have been supporting me, you know, and like a lot of them have really helped me kind of pull my head out of my ass, so to speak. You know, I'll just say that, to be frank. You know, and you mentioned your friend up there, the entrepreneur, and it's like I think we all are influenced by people without realizing it. You know, we're influenced by, you know, our teachers at school. But there's also a level of, you know, giving back, because my goal is whenever I get, you know, achieve whatever level of success I plan on achieving, is to remember the people that were supporting me in the first place, right? You know, it's not so much about focused on the money, but focused on the value and you know, and the focus on giving back. But man, that's great. I'm glad that you had the chance to meet and network with that guy, and he opened up your eyes, because I mean, now we're talking. You know, if he did not have that conversation with you, whenever that was, me and you would not be having this conversation right now.
That's a really good way of looking at it, and that's a really good way to end this episode. So Isaac, appreciate your time. I know you're very busy. Guys, this was Tea with Mike, episode 7. This is Isaac. Have a good day, everyone. Peace, Isaac.
All right, appreciate it, Mike. Keep crushing it, brother.